Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Nice to see you again. I hope you're doing well. We're back for another daily December video. Changing it to daily content because I haven't done full length videos every day in December. We've had a couple of shorts in there and a few live streams, and some people have been asking questions, so I'll clarify. Daily content December. And yesterday's short is something that we're going to talk about in today's video. So yesterday I made this short as the daily December video. An innocent enough feeding video, you might think, where I fed this discus tank and showed you the discus feeding, and had one comment, this comment, which made me think. It made me think a few things, not least the legitimacy of the person's birth and the frequency of their masturbatory tendencies, but that's not useful or helpful. So it made me think about feeding. Is this a massively misunderstood subject? I 100% wholeheartedly believe I was not overfeeding. That was not way too much. In what way was it way too much? How can that person possibly know? Does that person know I feed that sometimes 2 or 3 times a day? If anything, they should be saying that's way too little, because they should be assuming I'm not feeding again later on in the day. So, 1, nonsense. 2, excuse to do a feeding video. So I'm going to take you around some of my tanks, show you some of the foods that I'm feeding my fish in a thinly veiled attempt to mercilessly shill some of my fish foods on you. So we're going to start with this. This is the Hikari Cichlid Sinking, it's not what it's called at all. It's called the Sinking Cichlid Gold. This is the Hikari Cichlid Sinking Gold fish food that I don't sell. So that's how good I am at selling myself. Obviously this is for Hikari. It says on the thing that it's for fish over 6 inches. The actual size of the pellet, it's a 5mm pellet. I like this because it's fairly decent quality in terms of food ingredients. I'm now spilling it everywhere. In terms of ingredients, you can see on there, if it does focus on it, what the ingredients listed are. Feel free to pause the video and take a look at them. It's not the best food in the world, it's not the worst food in the world, but it's good enough, and I like it because it sinks at a rate that I like for the fish that I feed it for. It's fairly hard, and if a fish eats it quickly, it, in the puffer's case, will help with the wearing down of the beak. If they don't eat it quickly, it expands a little bit. So a little bit of care, I believe, is useful. So I have some fish that are gannets, and whatever you put in the tank, they will eat. If you give them too many of these and then this expands in their bellies, that's a bad day. So a little bit of care with this, but I do feed this with multiple fish. So let me show you. First off, we have to be a bit sneaky about this. So we have to sneak up on this fish, because if he knows we're coming, he goes in a humph and doesn't, oh God, I shouldn't be making any noise. He goes in a proper grump and won't eat anything. But the fish that I'm talking about is just round this corner. It's the Oscar. He's hanging around in the corner there. But if I make too much noise and he sees me coming, he just goes in a massive grump, sinks to the bottom and ignores me, which is not what we want. He's in there as a timeout from this tank because Brian the Grammy, which is hiding behind there, keeps trying to kill him when he's in this tank. So we're trying to rehome Brian, but he's in there at the moment. But he's the first fish that gets these Hikari Cichlid Gold. So we just basically throw a few in. And as you see, he will take a couple of them. Not the fastest fish in the world. You might have seen another one popping out there and nicking a couple. But basically, I have to stand well back or he just won't eat any of them at all. So there you go. First fish overfed. The next tank is obviously Mega Tank. It's mostly silver dollars in here. We've got Brian, the massive gourami. So I feed these different things each time. So today, they're getting these effectively sturgeon pellets or halibut pellets, but they will get different things on different days, and today they're going to get some of these, which the silver dollars love. Decent quality food. I also feed this tank a mixture of green beans and broccoli and various other veggies and things like that they seem to go quite good for. They're not so hot on the meaty things. So I've got a tank full of vegetarians. They're not so hot on the meaty things. but they like these pellets. I'll also go in with a handful of green beans. These are just frozen green beans chopped up. I would normally go in with a much bigger handful than this, but this is just left over from what I got out yesterday, so we're just using it up. So we'll chuck some of them in as well. And a few of the hikari pellets as well, because why not? But yeah, pretty popular with most of the fish, all these things. Tank 2 overfed. So the third tank that gets some of the hikari pellets is this one. This is the bass and the snakehead, and this is the one I have to be careful about because these two are so gluttonous that as soon as I drop the pellets in, gone. And I could probably sit here forever and do this. Another pellet, gone. If a fish that size gets too many pellets, they will expand in its belly and be bad news, so I'm going to stop feeding those ones now. But I will generally try and feed the snakehead and the bass separately and like put things in different sizes. But today is the day they also got a little treat, so they're going to get some. Got some chopped prawns and a chopped mussel. I don't feed mussel a lot, but I feed it every now and again, a little bit of it. So they get a little bit of that. I'm trying to entice the snakehead over because he seems to be in a bit of a mood for some reason. He's usually the more greedy of the two. Like so. Third tank overfed. The last fish that gets the hikari pellets is the puffer. He gets a few of them. It's also his treat day, so he was going to get a little bit of prawn. Oh no, he is showing some interest. So I'll give him a little bit of prawn, which he usually will eat. Quite likes that. He's now going to make me a liar and not eat it. Go on, you know you want to. Oh, he's taking the pellets, which is good because I want him to eat the hard stuff while they're still hard. And there we go, a little bit of the prawn, not going to go to waste. So I'm getting to know these fish quite well and their feeding habits and what they like and what they don't like. Like for instance, he won't usually eat in that corner, so this is quite unusual. And this is what I always talk about this, and spending time with your tanks, whether it's cleaning them, feeding them, whatever it is, just spending a lot of time doing things manually. You get to learn your fish's behaviour, so it's a bit easier to spot it when something's going wrong, when something's not quite happy. So all good here. Fourth tank overfed. And then we'll get on to the discus. So the discus are feeding on the soft artemia, and as you can see, I've got the tub out and they know food is coming and are getting a little bit excited about it. And this isn't even their first feeding of the day. So there are 12 small but growing discus in here, and they will get 2 generous pinches or frugal handfuls, whatever way you want to look at it. And they will clean that off in a few minutes. Now, discus are one of these fish where there's lots of advice out there on the internet about how you should and shouldn't feed your discus. The general staple advice is feed what they'll eat in 5 minutes. I have not found that to be good advice. Every single discus I have ever owned, and I have owned a lot, have been grazing fish. In an environment like this where it's an empty fish tank, they will pretty much just go at it and finish it off. They probably will finish that off in 5 minutes quite easily. But in a planted tank, they will happily spend an hour going around hunting for food, looking for scraps, picking it off. So don't be afraid to leave it in too long. Obviously, if you're throwing in handfuls and they're not getting through it in hours, that's too much. So I get the general principle of whatever they can eat in 5 minutes is good because you won't overfeed them in that, but you might underfeed them. They eat a lot. They have comparatively large stomachs compared to other fish their size, and they will eat a lot and poop a lot, especially when they're growing. And it's one of the most misunderstood things is the amount of food a discus will eat. They will eat a lot. You can see their bellies when they're fully engorged, and it's quite obvious that they're full, but it's not so obvious when they're not filling their bellies, if that makes sense, because it seems to go from 0 to 100 quite quickly. But I did not feed my other discus heavily yesterday. This is one of 3, maybe 4 feeds I'll do like this today for these fish, and they'll polish it off, no problems at all. So the soft Artemia that I'm using is this stuff here. It's a soft Artemia pellet, and kind of is what it says on the tin. It's a pellet made of soft Artemia. Really good, high quality food. It was put on to me many years ago by my discus specialist friend, and I liked it so much that I started importing it myself. So it comes from Germany. I think I'm one of the few places in the UK that sells this, and I love it. It's done great. It's my staple for all my discus. And most of my tanks get it at some point, if not as their regular food. But I have lots of other foods. That's my shelling over now. You can go and check them out on aquariumadventures.co.uk. But yeah, I'll well feed my tanks flake food, pellet food. I've got lots of other ones on there. And the general criteria for me selling something is it's something I use somewhere in my fish room myself. So you can go and check them out if you want to. But just to finish things off, I think I'll overfeed the discus tank one more time, just to make everyone happy. So just like yesterday, a good pinch. And some happy fish. Now, there aren't just discus in here. There's a black ghost knifefish. There you can see them, destroy rack escapes. There's an angelfish. There are Congo tetras. There are Alestes tetras. And look how they're not all stealing the food from the discus, like what people say. It's one of the most common criticisms of keeping discus with other fish is, well, they'll outcompete your discus for food. Will they? I think if your discus gets healthy enough, they can compete quite well. They will chase off the black ghost knifefish if he gets too pushy. They will chase off each other. They will chase off the tetras. Thereby cories don't get a look in sometimes. So if you see what's happened there is they've gone for the food straight away, and the current and them messing around has taken some of the food and put it into some of the little nooks and crannies. These fish will now spend the next hour digging out those little bits in the nooks and crannies. Just to annoy everyone, I'll do a second handful. This is not overfeeding these fish. The worst thing you can do with discus is not feed them enough. If you feed them too much, you will know, because the water quality will start to foul. It's not something that will go unnoticed if you're performing all your basic good husbandry techniques. I like this, they have a little bit of a squabble while the other ones are like, yeah, fine, you do you, I'll just munch all this up. Therein ends my public service announcement over am I overfeeding my fish or not. I believe not. You might have different information or different beliefs. By all means share them. I may ignore them, I may start a conversation with you. Hey, I've been on this platform long enough to know that I can't be right about everything, so I've been proved wrong many times. If you want to try and prove me wrong once more, go for it. I'll happily have a discussion with you about it. But we'll leave this video here while I go and overfeed the rest of my tanks. If you're interested in a discussion about this one-on-one, come and join my live stream on a Friday night, 9 PM UK time every Friday. And for the month of December, we're trying to raise some money. I'm sure you've seen in some of my other videos me talking about the good causes that I'm trying to raise money from, but it would be great if we could see you there, even if you don't like me and think I'm overfeeding my tanks. Give us some money anyway, it's not for me. So we'll see you there Friday night, 9 PM UK time, and if not, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. In fact, tomorrow is Friday. See you tomorrow. Bye.